There is a country in Eastern Europe that most of the world has never visited. In fact, it is the least visited country on the entire continent. Tucked between Romania and Ukraine, it is a land of rolling hills, ancient monasteries carved into limestone cliffs, and the largest wine cellars on earth. This is Moldova. And for those who call it home, life here is something the statistics can never capture. Moldova does not announce itself. It does not shout from the rooftops or compete for your attention with glossy tourism campaigns. Instead, it waits. It waits for you to discover its quiet dignity, its deep-rooted traditions, and its people, who will invite you into their homes before they even learn your name. To live in Moldova is to learn that wealth is not measured in what you accumulate, but in what you share. In the chapters ahead, we are going to walk through what daily life truly looks like across Moldova. From the cobblestone streets of Chișinău to the sunflower fields of the north. From the wine caves beneath the earth to the wedding feasts that last an entire weekend. This is not a story about one person or one village. This is the story of a nation, told through the rhythms and rituals that connect every Moldovan. If this journey into one of Europe's hidden corners speaks to you, take a moment now to subscribe. It tells the algorithm that stories like this matter, and it ensures you never miss the next one. Moldova is small. At roughly 33,000 square kilometers, it is about the size of Belgium or the American state of Maryland. But within that compact frame lies a landscape of surprising variety. The country stretches between two great rivers, the Prut to the west, marking the border with Romania, and the Dniester to the east, winding through the heart of the nation before emptying into the Black Sea. The central Codru region is the country's green soul. These ancient forests once covered the land in a near unbroken canopy, and what remains today is protected in reserves like the ones surrounding the village of Lozova. Here, oak and beech trees rise above carpets of wildflowers, and the air carries the cool scent of earth after rain. In autumn, the Codru becomes a mosaic of amber and gold, a quiet spectacle that Moldovans mark with weekend walks. To the north, the landscape opens into the vast rolling plains of the Bălți steppe. This is the agricultural heart of the country, an ocean of wheat, corn, and sunflowers stretching to the horizon. In midsummer, when sunflowers turn their heads toward the sky, the fields become a brilliant sea of yellow for kilometers in every direction. The city of Bălți sits at the center of this region, a hub of commerce that locals call the northern capital. Travel east from the Codru and the land changes character again. The Dniester River carves a deep valley through limestone hills, creating a dramatic landscape of cliffs and caves. At Orheiul Vechi, or Old Orhei, an Orthodox monastery is carved directly into the cliff face, suspended above the river like a prayer-made stone. The complex has been a place of worship for over 500 years, and looking out across the valley, it is easy to understand why. The climate across Moldova is distinctly continental. Winters are cold and snow is common, especially in the north around towns like Idinets, where temperatures can drop well below freezing for weeks. But Moldovan winters are short. By late March, the thaw begins and the countryside erupts into spring with remarkable speed. Summers are long, hot, and generous. July temperatures in Chișinău routinely reach the mid-30s Celsius. This long growing season is one of the country's greatest natural gifts. The land itself is famously fertile. Moldova sits on some of the richest black soil in Europe, the same Chernozem that makes the region a breadbasket. This soil is the reason agriculture has defined Moldovan life for thousands of years. Morning in Moldova begins early, especially in the countryside. Before the sun has fully cleared the horizon, the first sounds of daily life can be heard in villages across the country. The crow of a rooster in Hinchești, the creak of a wooden gate in Călărași, the distant bark of a dog in Soroca. In rural areas, the day is governed by the seasons and the needs of the land. There are animals to feed, gardens to tend, and fields that demand attention before the midday heat sets in. In Chișinău, the capital, mornings follow a different rhythm but share a similar energy. The city of roughly 700,000 people awakens with the rumble of trolleybuses and the shuffle of commuters. Along Ștefan cel Mare Boulevard, cafe terraces fill with people sipping strong coffee, often Turkish-style, dark and unfiltered. The central market, Piața Centrală, is buzzing by 7 in the morning. Vendors arrange towers of tomatoes and pyramids of plums, while early shoppers navigate the aisles with practiced efficiency. Transportation across Moldova tells its own story. In Chișinău, the trolleybus network is extensive and affordable, a legacy of Soviet-era planning. Outside the capital, minibuses called rutieras connect towns and villages along routes that can be long and bumpy. In the most remote areas, horse-drawn carts remain a common sight, not as a novelty, but as practical transport for farmers, moving goods between villages. The pace of daily life slows in the afternoon, particularly in summer. A long lunch is a necessity when temperatures climb. Shops in smaller towns like Orheiul may close for an hour or two, and families gather for the main meal of the day. Life resumes in the cooler hours of the late afternoon and stretches into the evening, when village lanes fill with neighbors catching up and city parks in Chișinău come alive with families and young couples. Evenings across Moldova are unhurried. In the capital, students gather on the steps of the Triumphal Arch, and restaurants along Pushkin Street fill with the murmur of conversation. In villages, the evening ritual is simpler: a walk along the main road, a visit to a neighbor's gate, or sitting on a bench watching the sun set. There is a shared understanding across Moldova that life is not meant to be rushed. The Moldovan home is the center of the universe. It does not matter whether that home is a Soviet-era apartment in the Buyucani district of Chișinău, or a painted cottage in the village of Butuceni. The home is where life happens, where guests are received, and where family bonds are forged and renewed. In rural areas, the traditional Moldovan house has a distinct character, typically painted in shades of blue or green, with intricate wooden trim around the windows and a steep roof designed to shed winter snow. These homes are surrounded by gardens that function more like small farms. A family in a village near Rezina might grow tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, onions, and garlic, enough to feed the household through summer and preserve for the winter. Fruit trees are everywhere. Apples, plums, cherries, and apricots lean over fences and drop their bounty onto dirt paths. Grapevines climb trellises beside the house, and many families produce their own wine in cellars dug beneath the kitchen floor. Inside, the home is a place of warmth and ritual. Rooms are kept spotlessly clean, a point of deep pride, and decorated with embroidered cloths, family photographs, and religious icons. The kitchen is the heart of the house, where grandmothers hold court, passing down recipes that have remained unchanged for generations. Family structure in Moldova is traditionally close-knit and intergenerational. It is common for multiple generations to live under one roof, particularly in rural areas. Newly married couples often live with the groom's parents until they can build or rent a home of their own. Grandparents play an active role in raising children, and the bonds between them are among the strongest in Moldovan society. With many working-age adults emigrating abroad for work, grandparents frequently become primary caregivers for children left behind. In urban areas like Chișinău or Bălți, the picture is slowly shifting. Young professionals are more likely to rent apartments independently, and the nuclear family model is becoming more common. But even in the city, family ties remain powerful. Sunday lunch at a parent's or grandparent's home is a near-sacred tradition, and no major decision is made without consulting the family first. Children in Moldova grow up with a strong sense of belonging. They are raised not just by parents, but by an extended network of aunts, uncles, godparents, and neighbors who offer advice, discipline, and affection in equal measure. In a village, everyone knows every child, and the concept of family extends beyond blood. To understand Moldova, you must sit at its table. Food is not fuel in this country. It is language, memory, and identity. Every dish carries a history. Every recipe connects the present to the past, and no visitor leaves a Moldovan home without being fed beyond reason. The foundation of Moldovan cuisine is mămăligă, a dense cornmeal porridge that has been the staple of the region for centuries. Served alongside brânză, a salty sheep or cow cheese, and sour cream, mămăligă is humble food elevated by the quality of its ingredients. In restaurants in Chișinău, it might appear as a neatly shaped side dish. In a village kitchen in Mileștii, it arrives in a cast-iron pot, steaming and golden, to be torn apart by hand and shared among everyone at the table. Beyond mămăligă, the Moldovan table overflows. Sarmale, cabbage or grape leaves stuffed with minced meat, rice, and herbs are a fixture at every celebration. Plăcinte, flaky pastries filled with cheese, potato, cabbage, or sweet pumpkin, are sold at roadside stands and served at family gatherings alike. Zeama, a sour chicken soup with homemade noodles, is the cure for everything and appears on tables from Briceni in the far north to Cahul in the south. No discussion of Moldovan food is complete without wine. Moldova is one of the oldest wine-producing regions in the world, with a viticultural history stretching back at least 5,000 years. The country is home to the largest wine cellar on earth at Mileștii Mici, where over 200 kilometers of underground tunnels hold nearly 2 million bottles. Nearby, the Cricova cellars extend for 120 kilometers beneath limestone hills, a subterranean city where streets are named after wine varietals. For Moldovans, wine is a birthright. Nearly every rural household produces its own, and the question of whose is best is a source of endless, good-natured debate. The Orthodox Church is deeply woven into Moldovan cultural identity. Monasteries like Purcari in the Codru forests and Capriana surrounded by ancient oaks draw worshippers on major feast days. The cave monastery at Țipova, said to be the largest of its kind in Eastern Europe, sits carved into a dramatic cliff above the Dniester. Folk music and dance preserved by ensembles like the Jock National Folk Dance Company, are celebrated at festivals throughout the year. In Chișinău, the Martisor Festival in early March marks the arrival of spring, when people exchange small red and white pins as tokens of good fortune. Moldova is one of the poorest countries in Europe, yet its economic story is more complex than that statistic suggests. The official unemployment rate hovers around 4%, painting a picture of near full employment. But the reality on the ground reflects an economy in transition, where traditional pillars are slowly giving way to newer industries. Agriculture remains the most visible sector and the largest employer. In the fields around Drocea and Florești, the growing season dictates the rhythm of life for tens of thousands of families. Sunflowers, wheat, corn, and sugar beets dominate large-scale farming, while smaller plots produce fruits and vegetables for domestic consumption and export. Moldova is known for its apples and plums, which find their way to markets across Russia, Romania, and increasingly the European Union. The wine industry alone employs a significant portion of the rural workforce, from vineyard workers in the Purcari region to cellar masters guiding the aging process underground. But agriculture is also where Moldova's economic challenges are most visible. The rural workforce has contracted dramatically as young people leave for cities or work abroad. A farmer near Florești might tend land his grandfather worked, but with far fewer hands, relying on aging relatives and whatever machinery the family can afford. In the cities, a different economy is emerging. Chișinău has developed a growing information technology sector, with software development companies serving international clients. The IT industry benefits from a well-educated, multilingual workforce. Many young Moldovans speak Romanian, Russian, and English, and proximity to European markets. This sector is one of the few bright spots attracting young professionals to stay rather than emigrate. For those in traditional trades, the economy can be fragile. Teachers, doctors, and public sector workers earn salaries that rarely exceed a few €100 per month, forcing many to supplement their income through informal work or remittances from relatives abroad. The role of remittances cannot be overstated. An estimated 1 million Moldovans, roughly a third of the population, live and work abroad, primarily in Russia, Italy, and other European countries. The money they send home props up households, builds houses, and funds education. Walk through any Moldovan village and you will see grand homes, often half-finished, funded by years of hard work abroad. Social life in Moldova is rich, communal, and built around hospitality. There is a saying that a guest is a gift from God, and that belief is lived out daily. Drop by a home unannounced in a village near Nisporeni, and within minutes you will be seated at a table, a plate of food appearing as if by magic, and a glass of homemade wine poured to the brim. Weddings are the pinnacle of Moldovan social life, and they are not modest affairs. A traditional wedding can last 2 or 3 days, involving not just the bride and groom, but entire villages. The celebration begins with the formal Orthodox ceremony, rich with chanting and crowns held over the couple's heads. From there, the party moves to a hall or a large tent, where hundreds of guests gather for a feast that stretches deep into the night and resumes the following morning. The food is endless. The music, live bands playing traditional Moldovan melodies alongside modern hits, is constant. The toasts are passionate and poetic, and every guest, from the oldest grandmother to the youngest cousin, is expected to dance. Beyond weddings, Moldova's social calendar is marked by festivals that celebrate the seasons. The National Wine Day in Chișinău, held each October, is one of the country's most anticipated events. Wineries from across Moldova set up tasting stalls in the Great National Assembly Square, and the city fills with music and the aroma of grilled meat. In the village of Cricova, the traditional carpet festival honors the art of Moldovan weaving, with intricate carpets displayed alongside demonstrations by master artisans. Religious holidays structure the year profoundly. Easter is the most important celebration in the Orthodox calendar. Families paint eggs in intricate patterns, bake kozanak, a sweet braided bread, and attend midnight services that fill the streets with candlelight. Christmas, celebrated on January 7th, brings families together for a meal that traditionally includes 12 dishes, one for each apostle. The Orthodox Church is more than a place of worship. It is a social anchor, a preserver of tradition, and a source of community identity. In cities and villages alike, the local church is often the oldest and most beautiful building, and its bells mark the hours of the day and the milestones of life. Life in Moldova carries real hardship, and no honest portrait of the country can ignore it. The most profound challenge is emigration. For decades, working-age Moldovans have been leaving in search of economic opportunities abroad. By some estimates, a quarter to a third of the population now lives outside its borders. This exodus has reshaped Moldovan society at every level. In the villages, the effects are visible everywhere. Entire communities have been hollowed out. In places like Glodeni or Dondușeni, the school might have half the students it did 20 years ago. The fields are worked by an aging population, and for every new house built with remittance money, another sits empty, its owners gone to Italy or France for years at a time. Children left behind are raised by grandparents who do their best but carry a burden that should not be theirs alone. Poverty remains a stubborn reality. Despite low official unemployment, wages are among the lowest in Europe. A pensioner might receive €150 per month, barely enough for food and utilities, let alone medicine or comfort. In rural areas, where the elderly make up a disproportionate share of the population, deprivation is often hidden but deeply felt. The political landscape is turbulent. Moldova sits at a geopolitical crossroads, pulled between historical ties to Russia and a growing orientation toward the European Union. The breakaway region of Transnistria, along the eastern bank of the Dniester, has existed in a frozen conflict since the early 1990s. It operates as a de facto separate state, with its own currency, borders, and government, though unrecognized internationally. For Moldovans on either side of this invisible line, the separation is a constant reminder of unresolved tensions. Infrastructure, while improving, remains a challenge. Roads in rural Moldova can be rough and nearly impassable in rainy seasons. Healthcare access outside major cities is limited, with hospitals often lacking modern equipment and adequate staffing. The education system struggles to retain teachers when salaries are so low, yet Moldovans do not speak of these challenges with resignation. There is a resilience forged through centuries of hardship: Ottoman rule, Soviet occupation, economic collapse, and political upheaval. The Moldovan spirit has learned to bend without breaking. Moldova is a country caught between two worlds. To walk through Chișinău is to feel this tension in every street. On Ștefan cel Mare Boulevard, young professionals in tailored coats move between glass-fronted office buildings and specialty coffee shops that would not look out of place in Berlin or Prague. Their weekends include gallery openings at the National Museum of Art or craft beer at a city center pub. This is one Moldova. Drive an hour in any direction and you enter another. In a village near Șoldănești, a farmer hitches his horse to a wooden cart and heads to the fields, just as his father did, and his grandfather before him. Houses are heated with wood-burning stoves. Water comes from a well. The rhythms of life are seasonal, not digital. This is another Moldova. Both are real. Both coexist. A young woman in Bălți might spend her day managing inventory for an e-commerce business via her smartphone, then spend her evening helping her grandmother jar pickles for winter. A university student in Chișinău might debate European integration policy in the morning and join his family for an Orthodox service in the afternoon. This duality is the defining characteristic of modern Moldovan identity. Technology is bridging the gap between worlds, though unevenly. Chișinău has some of the cheapest high-speed internet in Europe, and mobile coverage reaches even remote villages. Social media use is widespread, and young Moldovans are as connected to global culture as their peers anywhere. But the digital divide is real. Elderly rural residents may have little interaction with the online world, and for them, information still travels through village gossip and state television. The clash between old and new is visible in attitudes toward gender roles. Urban Moldova is slowly embracing more egalitarian norms. Women are entering professional fields in greater numbers, and traditional expectations are being contested. In rural areas near Tălănești, traditional roles remain entrenched. A woman might be responsible for cooking, cleaning, child-rearing, gardening, and animal care before she considers her own needs. Food culture sits at the intersection of these two worlds. In Chișinău, supermarkets stock international brands, and sushi restaurants appear alongside traditional eateries. But the pull of homemade food remains powerful, and even the most cosmopolitan city dweller insists nothing compares to their grandmother's sarmale, or a tomato grown in their own village garden. Given the economic challenges, political uncertainty, and the pull of opportunities abroad, the question naturally arises, why does anyone stay in Moldova? The answer reveals something essential about what makes a life worth living. People stay because of the land. There is a connection to Moldovan soil that runs deeper than economics, the feeling of walking through a vineyard in the Codru region in late summer. Grapes heavy on the vine, and earth warm underfoot. It is the satisfaction of growing your own food, knowing the tomatoes on your plate came from seeds your family has saved for generations. This connection anchors people in ways money cannot replace. People stay because of family. In a country where family bonds are the strongest social currency, leaving means more than changing your address. It means missing Sunday lunches, weddings, baptisms, and funerals. It means children growing up without grandparents nearby. Many Moldovans who have lived abroad, in Rome, in Moscow, in London, speak of a persistent ache, a pull to return that never quite fades, and many do return, trading higher salaries for the embrace of home. People stay because of community. A Moldovan village is a living organism of mutual obligation and shared history. Neighbors help neighbors without being asked. A sick farmer will find his fields mysteriously tended by morning. A family in crisis will find food at their doorstep, delivered by hands that ask nothing in return. This kind of community is cultivated over decades, rooted in shared suffering and shared joy. People stay because of identity, because Moldova, for all its imperfections, is home. The taste of plăcinte fresh from the oven. The sound of church bells on a winter morning in Cellars. The sight of the Dniester winding through limestone cliffs at sunset. The music of a wedding band playing until dawn near Comrat. These are not tourist experiences. They are the texture of a life, the fabric that cannot be replicated elsewhere. People stay because Moldova is changing, and they want to be part of it. A new generation is choosing to build rather than leave, to open businesses, to fight corruption, to modernize agriculture, to create art that speaks to the Moldovan experience. They see potential where others see only problems. They believe Moldova's best chapters have not yet been written. People stay because they love this country, not in spite of its struggles, but because those struggles have shaped a national character that is resilient, generous, and deeply human. Moldova does not offer an easy life, but for those who call it home, it offers something perhaps more precious, a life that is real, rooted and rich in the things that matter most. If this journey through Moldova has moved you, subscribe now. It costs you nothing, and it means everything. It keeps these stories alive and ensures you will be here for the next one. Explore more, worry less,